As you know, I was looking for barrels for the Super Dust Deputy last time, and I wound up getting plastic barrels. I found a guy on Craigslist that had some that was really close to my house, and the guy, I went to get metal barrels actually, and he had metal, plastic, and then he had two of these plastic barrels here. They're actually a lightweight plastic barrel. They had horseradish in them. They had one trip with horseradish, and that was it. But they're really lightweight, and they don't have all the extra ribs and the extra heavy top and bottom that the other plastic barrels had. And I just really like them, and they're a little shorter and fatter than a standard barrel. So he only had one proper lid for him. The other one I got a different lid for, and I got basically a brand new rings for both of them too. And I decided to go with them to try them because I really liked how lightweight they were. And they did have some Sharpie marking on them and some stickers on them that I got the stickers off with some of that Goo Gone, and I take Sharpie off with alcohol. IPA alcohol works good. And there you can see, you can pick these things up. They really, it just amazed me. They're really rigid and stiff, but light. They're kind of an oddball one. He said he doesn't get them too often, but luckily the guy, had everything outside, and I just put on my mask and went and didn't have to get near anybody or anything, and worked out good. So here I decided to start cutting out the top. The top I think is like a polyethylene, or it must be polyethylene material or something. It's a little bit flexible. Here you can see if I push down hard on it, it's about 4 millimeters thick, but I figured it would work. And it's great because the guy said if you have any trouble with collapsing or anything like that, he'd give me credit towards the other barrel. So, it was a good deal. So, there's a wooden ring that I had cut out from something else, and I just had to cut the center out. I wanted to put a backup ring on the inside of the lid just to stiffen it up some. So I cut that out with a jigsaw, and then I went back and just sanded it round. And I always like to put masking tape on to mark stuff, so you can always get a second chance if you have to. And here's that ring that I picked up at Lowe's. This is the second one. I used the first one in the other video up on the bottom of the Super Dust Deputy. So just a matter of centering that over the hole and peeling the tape off, and it really does stick on there good. I did clean the top with alcohol before I stuck it on, just to make sure there were no oils or anything on it. And then that wood ring, you can see I put a couple layers of foam around that, gasketing foam. And I'm just going back and drilling some extra holes in this flange here, just so I'm sure there'll never be any leaks. Then I had to take it over on the bench and set it up on some other blocks of plywood, just because of the that lip that goes inside. That lip actually drops down in the barrel and seals against the section in there too, so it's like a double seal on this barrel. So I just used some screws right through the lid there, and then into that wood ring that I made, and that really sucks everything down good, and stiffens it up and stuff. So it really was nice having a lid that had no bungs or anything else in it. It worked good. Now for the hose, I'm using a cut-off piece from my Cyclone rig. This was an extra piece I had cut, and I didn't know what I'd ever do with it, but I found out that it would work good here. It's really a little bit extra stiff for this application, but I figured that when you're trying to squeeze it up, it takes about 40 pounds of pressure to push it up and move it. It's really got a lot of spring force down on it, so I figured that would actually seal the lid on this container good without the extra rings, because originally I was going to go with 55-gallon drums and just plywood, a plywood lid on them. But I really like these better. There you can see so I got that cut to the length now that I need, and put the top on. And the one problem that I did run into is these drums were actually about an inch bigger in diameter, a little bit more than that, than the standard plastic or metal drums. So you can see that the lid actually hits that piece of plywood in the back there. But it is a fight to pick it up and squeeze it, and then once you push down on it, it really does seal good. There's a real nice seal in the actual lid itself also. So there it is all together, and I just wanted to, check for leaks and stuff, and basically everything was good, nothing leaked. And it looks like it's gonna, really work out good. But there you can see right back there is where that hose is offset because of that plywood. And it really doesn't serve any purpose, so I just went back and cut it out so I could, get everything to be perfect in there. So I cut that out, took a couple screws out, and that was gone. And then I wanted to put a little clear sight glass in the lid so I could actually see down in there when it's full. Someday I'll do an electronic sensor, but for now I'm just going to use a piece of Lexan there. Had some 1/4-inch thick Lexan. And I wanted it in the lid so I don't have to modify the barrel because this is a little bit thinner barrel. I didn't want to mess with it. So I just cut a hole in the lid with a hole saw. Cut real nice and clean and easy. And I made this hole a lot smaller than the Lexan. You can see there. And decided to just throw a layer of silicone, one big bead of silicone around there. Then I took the plastic and just kind of squished it down so it looked like a gasket in there about 1/16 of an inch thick. And I let that harden before I went back and drilled and put in the mounting screws. Now I picked up the 2 barrels that he had. There's the other one there. You can see they were brand new. They were even washed out. He did wash out all the horseradish and stuff. So, all cleaned and everything. And this one here does have a different lid. It was just one he found that actually fit it. There you see my wife's been bringing in the daffodils as the wind breaks them off out there. They've really been spectacular this year. You can see that's like the size of my hand, those blooms on the daffodils. They've just been amazing. And a lot of them are getting broken from the wind though. So then to solve the problem of, all the force it takes to pick up that, to compress that piece of 8-inch hose on there, I decided to make a little over-center cam with just using some plywood sides. So I quick drew them up on the, running them on the CNC router here just to get nice, quick, clean cuts with a little bit of radiuses in there and stuff, without having to do a lot of sanding. So just load a piece of, this is 1/2-inch plywood. I just loaded a piece of 1/2-inch plywood and just took maybe about 8 minutes, I think, to run these 2 pieces. So it really wasn't too bad on a simple part like this. And plywood you can take some pretty good cuts on. And I just decided to remove some of those little splinters along the edge and some of that fuzz and stuff before I took it apart there and pick it out. And there's my 2 arms for the lid lifter. Just super simple over center cams that make it an easy job to turn into an easy job for switching out the barrels. So then I had a piece of 3/4-inch dowel and it fit right in there, and I went back and I glued that into the 2 handle sides like that. And once the glue was all set and dry, I took it over to the barrel there, and I drilled 2 holes in the side of that holder for the dust deputy up there to hold the pivot points. And then I went down to my shop, and I'm not going to show you this, but I just had some aluminum, some 1/4-inch by 3/4 aluminum that I cut 2 pieces, and 2 little pieces of 2 by 2 by 1/4-inch wall angle to mount to the barrel. And it was a quick little cam and some pipe insulation there to hide that 3/4-inch dowel and make it easy to grab onto. So quick and easy over center cam, and here you can see I really don't need that lid ring with the force this puts on it, but you can see how easy it is to just pick it up now, and I can just slide the barrels out and switch them in a second, and just slide it right back in there. And you can see I've got that piece cut out in the back there. Oops, I didn't hold on to it, but I really don't need that ring, but I'm still leaving it anyway. That goes right back down there. Everything seals up good, and still a lot of downforce on it. It compresses that plastic in the lid so the vacuum doesn't pull it down or anything now. And the barrels hold up really fine to the vacuum. And I went back, drilled 4 holes, and put some nuts and bolts in just for, to hold that in place. So in the end, here it is all done pretty much. The dust deputy, I didn't show you this in the first one, but had like a little crack in where it was welded together or something like that, or glued together. So I went back and I sealed that whole seam there with silicone just to be safe in the future. And that only took a second there. And I got plenty of room for the drums now. And I decided to do some testing on it. I have used it with it before the barrels with that just a blank plate blocking it off, and also testing the barrel when I first put it on before it was sealed good and stuff. So now I'm just gonna run a piece through the planer a couple times. I did clean out some of the sawdust in my saw, and I tried to get the barrel about a quarter full till I'd have an idea of how good a job it did. So I just grabbed this piece of ash that I had there, and I figured I want to make a bench out of this piece anyway. So it's a live edge piece, and figured I'd just clean it up just to make some sawdust. And everything's working good. You can see there's really some wild cyclonic action going on in there. It seems to be doing a real good job and stuff. I'll show you in a second when we get to the filters. But everything's working good. It's a lot quieter now than the whole system was before. And here's that piece of ash. It was spalted, it turned out. That turned out to be really beautiful, so that'll make a nice bench. And then it was time to go back and clean out the filter. And first thing I do is just try to shake it out like that. I expected to be quite a bit of sawdust in here, because in the beginning when I was playing with it, I didn't have everything sealed up right. And this really is super easy to change compared to trying to get a bag off and a bag back on and stuff like that. I should have just gone with 3 of those clips. It would have been a third faster, or 25% faster to change. But after all that, it's just a little tiny bit of dust. Couple little tiny chips in there, and I know they were from when I was playing with it before everything was sealed up, but otherwise there's just a real thin layer of dust, and I expected to see a lot more than that, so I figured I'm going to go back and put that back on. I'll try blowing it out again to get everything really good and clear, just to double check. So I just took the air compressor, blew it back in there, and checked it again, and basically same thing. So this thing really is, I'm going to say it's working at least 20 or 30 times better than that Grizzly one did, because I'm just getting some fine dust and powder in the bottom of there, and it's pretty amazing how nice it works and how quiet it is. Here's my wood rack. I've been trying to get rid of all this scrap for the last couple weeks. I've been cutting it up and burning it in the wood stove and stuff, but somehow I still got a lot to go here. I just try to save all the little pieces, which I really will never use, so time to clean that out next. So these first results really do look promising, and everything's really easy to change over and swap, and no more band clamps for bags blowing out sawdust and stuff like that. So I'm real happy with the final outcome now, and we'll see over time how everything works and how well it separates. And looking out the window, it's snowing again now, and hopefully that'll be gone by tomorrow so I can get back out in the garden and make some gardening videos. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.